Here for you guys. There you go. Okay, so with this budget, you can see that it's, we're looking at a full year here of January through December. And as you go at the very far end, on the far right there, you've got the total amount on each of those categories. So if we're looking at the very top one, there's your pay, there's your income, right? And this is what you'd be getting from your job if you were making $43,200 a year, right? You're getting $3,600 a month. And then I've got in there investments, because sometimes that's a passive income investment right there. And I don't know what that is. Maybe that you're making YouTube videos. Maybe it's a little bit of extra cash flow that you have over from a rental, whatever it is. And again, this is not meant to be your budget today, when you're first starting out. This is a few years in when you're making a little bit more money. But that means you can see that you've got a little bit of income coming in for a total of $3,700 a month. And then I listed typical expenses down below. One thing I want to point out real quick is the amount for the rent and mortgage. And if you look at that, it's $1,200, right? And you'll note the reason I selected that amount was not by accident. Whenever you're paying down a rent or mortgage, you don't want it to be more than a third of whatever you're pulling in for pay. Okay, that's just a good general rule of thumb. You'll notice too that under groceries and dining out, those are both food, but I didn't lump them together. Because again, groceries is the much more efficient way of feeding yourself. You bring food home, you make it. And dining out is more of like, hey, let's just do this periodically. Don't deny yourself entirely, but it doesn't become something that ever should be larger than your grocery bill. It shouldn't be anywhere close to that amount, in fact. And so that's one of the things that I see upside down on budgets that have gone bad, is somebody goes out so often that the amount that they're spending on groceries is close to the amount they're paying on groceries. Sometimes, even if it's 50% of it, that's not good. You really want to have that down at a lower number. Under miscellaneous right there, that's pretty much everything else, because this is just the basics. This is not living, there's no travel, there's no emergencies, there's no clothes, there's no health care, whatever, And so that miscellaneous is a larger amount, but it's meant to cover a lot of things. And then you can see the important one right there, invest. And I've got this particular budget investing at $700 a month. And this is possible. This is not unlike what my budget was a number of years back when I was making less money, where even if you are making only 43 grand a year, it might seem like a large amount to you right now, but when you get older, it'll be like, oh, just 43 grand. And yet this person is still able to save $700 a month. Very much a possibility. And you can see when they do that, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, they've saved $8,400, right? The cool thing about that, of course, is that they're not saving just $8,400. If they're investing it, that thing is going up by 8%, so it's even more. And there's still a remainder there. You'll notice that even after I've taken, because again, income and minus expenses, that's basically our budget, right? There's still a remainder, and there's $390 down there. That's kind of your buffer. And if you have that left over, that's good to have as an emergency fund. Just kind of build it up. You can see that gets to about $4,700 at the end of the year, just an emergency fund. But if you've got something left over and you haven't used it for an emergency, sock that right into your investments. So get up beyond your goal. 700 is your minimum. That's where you're the bare minimum you're trying to get to. And then down below, you'll notice I have a little debt with a question mark next to it. And that is basically if you've got debt, which a lot of people who are more close to midlife have accumulated a lot of debt. They've made mistakes. They've put a lot of things on credit cards. They've got car payments that are too much and too long. And so obviously those aren't calculated for here. This is a very simple budget. So you do want to tackle those as well. So that's essentially what a typical budget looks like. And when you go forward, this is, I can help you make one, but that's essentially what we're trying to do. So to summarize this section, wealth, again, is not a large income. Wealth is created by being smart with your money and saving it from year to year. Second thing you want to remember is spend less than what you make and invest the rest. Again, if you forget everything else I teach you in this course, remember that one thing. Third thing I want you to remember, or summary for this particular section, is track your income, track your expenses, and plan for the future. And the other and final part is consistently check in and update. So having a budget that you keep is only so helpful if you're constantly checking it and making sure that it is up to date, that you've got all those things listed in there. And you want to attach this budget to your life goals, to where you're going forward. And so you know that you're on track towards that. Personally, when I do my budget, I open it probably 5-6 times a week at the minimum. Sometimes it's a lot more than that, but I'm very much dedicated to that.